start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
So yesterday was an historic day. Something that had never happened before happened in Baltimore. Was it to do with the riots? No, it wasn't to do with riots. Riots are becoming increasingly and disturbingly commonplace in this day and age. I wish the riots were a unique thing. I wish that was something that had never happened before and would never happen again. I'd like to think that we as a species managed to evolve past that. But looks like we haven't. Not so much. And what happened yesterday was that the Baltimore Orioles won their game against the Chicago White Sox. I think it was like 6-2 or something like that. But they won it. They won their game in front of nobody. Literally played in an empty stadium. Why? Because the situation in Baltimore dictated that it was a really, really unsafe thing to do to get a stadium's worth of people in and out of where they play. It would result in death and destruction, and they didn't want that. So, something that had never happened in the history of baseball happened, which was a game was played in front of what was an essentially empty stadium. Now, it's really easy for me to sit here in my ivory tower, no pun intended, me being the whitest person on the face of the planet, being the most Anglo member of the American public you've ever met, half English, descended from Swedish and German people, Whitey McWhite-a-lot over here. It's really easy for me to sit here in my ivory tower and talk about race relations being ridiculous. I won the genetic lottery. I'm essentially Hitler's wet dream, and that plays well in America. I've been afforded all the opportunities of an upper middle class upbringing. I got to go to school. I got to go to a good school in England, where they take education seriously still. And what does education give you? Well, it gives you, among other things, besides sort of the opportunity to get yourself into a good college, go and earn a degree, and then walk into a job that'll leave you, paying off college debt for a while, but in a stable place with a chance of a future. I got to grow up in a way that gave me a sense of possibility. I went to an international school when I was in England. I remember there were times where there was conflict, which is essentially all the time in the Middle East. And I remember in my current events class, I had a member of the Iraqi nobility and like a Kuwaiti prince's son. It was weird, but there was an amazing, amazing picture in one of my yearbooks of those guys hanging out in front of one of the buildings with their arms around each other. As in the Middle East, back home, their relatives were attempting to lay waste to each other's ways of life. Gives you a fortuitous and unique perspective. And I realized that with that fortuitous and unique perspective of being thrown in to a multicultural and diverse society like the one I grew up in, it gives you not only the privilege of education, not only the privilege of having a sense of possibility, not only the privilege of thinking that the world is your oyster a little bit, but when you see folks get along, that gives you a privileged way of thinking. And I grew up not really aware of racism. I mean, I knew it existed, but I never experienced it face to face. I never saw racism face to face until I moved to America. I didn't even move there. I was visiting America. And I remember being reasonably young, way too young to buy beer, and hanging out with a bunch of other high school kids in America one summer on a visit back from England. And one of them was like, hey, we need to get beer for the party. I was like, cool, let's go get beer for the party. And they're like, well, we can't just go anywhere. They won't sell to us. We're not 21, which is weird to me because I'd been drinking in pubs in England since I was 13 years old. I was the same height after my growth spurt in the 8th grade as I am now. So I never had problems getting served. And they really don't bother IDing people in England. But in America, it was a whole different ball of wax. And I remember hanging out with these guys, and they're like, well, we got to get beer. I was like, cool. Let's go get beer then. And one was like, well, they won't sell to us here. We got to go over to N-word town to get beer. And I was like, ooh. I actually physically recoiled in shock because I'd never heard that term used in a derogatory way I'd heard stand-up comedians use it. I'd heard rappers use it, but I'd never heard that term used in a derogatory way. Now, we were kids, 15, 16, 17 maybe. So where did that come from? Where on earth did that come from? Where on earth did that seed of not only abusive speech, but also a divide where that abusive speech would become a thing? Where did that come from? See, racism isn't born, folks. It's taught. 2-year-old son. I have a 2-year-old son. You know what he hates? Naps. End of list. Dennis Leary. Now, what do we do about it? Well, sadly, I kind of skate. All I have to do is keep an open mind and try not to judge people. That's my contribution to helping to end racism. But Oprah Winfrey said, I was raised to believe that excellence is the best deterrent to racism or sexism. And that's how I operate my life. Wise words.
Two-seater fleeter, it's you and the senorita. Whooper blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Knocking the mama seater top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme say. I run a game like a cheater, I'm balling like they're a cheater. Complete on the marathon, I mean the very last meter. Competition defeated, cause you're my voice is just sweeter. So come on, follow the leader, plus I got the dopest of sneakers. Fuck the rest, I'm the best, there's no question. Fuck the rest and you know. Fuck the rest, I'm the best, there's no question. Are you ready to go? One thing you gotta know, let me just bear with me, and you radio. One thing you gotta know, let me just bear with AD on your radio. On your radio. On your radio. Fuck the false modesty, nobody has ever been better, smarter, more clever. I'm winning every endeavor in competition, no you never see a better competitor. Every fight of vendetta, till a head has been severed. I'm the best that there is, I wake up and piss excellence. And if you're coming to battle on your house, I put up excellence. I'm just here to have a little fucking fun, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm second to none. Fuck the rest, I'm the best, there's no question. Fuck the rest and you know. Fuck the rest, I'm the best, there's no question. Are you ready to go? One thing you gotta know, let me just bear with me, and your radio. One thing you gotta know, let me just bear with AD on your radio. On your radio. On your radio. Fuck the rest, I'm the rest, there's no question. Fuck the rest and you know. Fuck the rest, I'm the best, there's no question. Are you ready to go? I'm just here to have a little fucking fun, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm still second to none. Fuck the rest, I'm the best, there's no question. Are you ready to go? Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving your music a savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD, and can't nobody rock a body better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving your music a savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD, and can't nobody rock a body better than me. Hey, you, what's that sound? I'm coming so loud from your radio dial. AD, be getting down when you're rocking the jams. Here I am, going back once again. I'm ruling all city like a
So today, we are privileged to be joined yet again by Concept 714, host of the preeminent hip-hop podcast in the world, Wake the Flock Up. Yay! Concept 714, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No, it's great to have you back.
It's a lot of fun driving down here, too, AD.
Yeah. It's how long did it take you today to be here?
16 and a half hours today. So
good.
it's not too bad.
Good.
Half.
Excellent.
Around 2 hours. So it's not too bad, but I had a healthy breakfast of Red Bull. Plural.
But really, do you drink that stuff on a regular basis? I
tried not to. I'm more of a coffee guy. Like and I take my coffee black. You know what I'm saying? Like black. No pun intended. I take it black and dark, just to wake me up in the morning, you know. Cue the blues music.
You know, actually, like to folks listening, you may notice that the opening soliloquy of the show, we've got some new bed music in there, which is Funkhauser has been going through his radio past and digging up pieces of music that he thought would be cool for the show. And I was like, he's like, what about this blues music for the news? And I was like, what about that for like my little philosophical talk up in the mornings? And he was like, oh, that'd be cool. And so we've been using it, but it just so happens that our philosophical talk up that we open the show with every single morning for the last couple days when we started using that has centered around race relations. Now, two white guys reappropriating the blues to make their point when they're talking about the black-white divide might be seen as insensitive, but I promise you it's purely coincidental.
Look, I consider it like this. Blues calms everybody down, doesn't it?
That's so true.
Little dark lighting and everything, and in a week like this week we've been having, especially over there on the East Coast, it's good to just chill out. So that's why I'm playing it. How's
I agree.
That?
Who is it?
I don't know.
Because
the
only problem I have with it is like the guitar player's kind of good, and I'll start listening to him instead of thinking about what I'm saying.
You start zoning out to the music.
Yeah, like be like, bring it on home, Daddy-O, and then I'll forget that I'm the Daddy-O
You're
that's
tapping
supposed
your
to be
foot.
bringing
You're
it
like,
on home.
Maybe we should play that at the end of the show, like the last part.
Yeah, you never know.
Somebody should. What's that called? That app that you can listen
Shazam
to?
it?
Yeah, Shazam that.
Yeah, hey, Shazam it, and then tweet us the answer to that question, please.
That's funny. I have a song that I sampled and for some music that I did, and I tried Shazamming it because I couldn't remember what the hell it was. Like somebody listened to it, they're like, "What is this? Is this a sample of something?" I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, what? I was like, I don't remember. And I was like, one of these days, if anything ever happens about the song, I'm going to get popped because I've got no idea who it is. And we tried Shazamming it, but I sort of like slowed the sample down so much that I guess Shazam didn't know what it was. And yeah, so that's, watch, I'll wind up selling the song to be used in a Volkswagen commercial or something. And then I'll get popped for it by some no-name band I do remember that they were I think they were a band out of Iowa or something like that, but I've got no idea. It was just, that can be confusing stuff. Yeah. Anyways, Concept 714 is here in the studio with us today, and we're going to catch up with him and discuss what are the latest developments with his unbelievable hip-hop podcast, Wake the Flock Up, after we roll through the events of today in our segment, My Witness News. Certainly not fair, definitely not balanced. Funkhauser. Different news bed. Oh, I like this one.
Well, AD, it's been quite a news day here in the news center capital of the world, Sherman Oaks, California.
You know what I would have liked to hear, kind of like the 20s, nightlight 20s tone. You know what I'm talking about? Funk. Oh, there you go. It has like typewriters clapping in the background. There. That's it. That's it. There.
See, Funkhauser was talking about using some different bits and beds for news, and I have to say the one thing that I like about using this is like it's an obvious comedic gaffe if 2 or 3 guys who are clearly not serious use serious music when they're going over the news. I feel like we should be shuffling papers. This is good stuff, man.
This is very Ron Burgundy of you guys. I like it. That was my main complaint about you, AD, is that I don't feel you do enough radio stuff. Like, why don't I hear?
I'm good to hear that out of all the complaints you've got about me, you've already sort of figured out the hierarchy of complaints you have about the show, and now have a specific one that's risen right to the top of the heap. Thank you so much for coming back to the show.
I have a scroll of complaints about you personally.
Okay, well, let's start with the top one. What, I don't do enough radio stuff?
Yeah, why don't I hear like the hour or the time being told like every 5 seconds? Like that was like, in the radio, it was like Burbank 13 after the hour.
I think as news guy, it's my responsibility.
Yeah.
20 after the hour here.
Yeah, there you go. But it was like every 5 minutes they would, and then somehow the temperature in LAX they would give us.
Yeah, the time and temp. Yeah.
Why don't I hear that more often? Like I just missed the radio days, I guess.
Well, I think there's a reason why we don't do that. It's kind of old school because I have an old school radio friend, and he was like, "Can you give me the time 5 ways?" I was like, "What the hell is that? Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is, Funkhauser?"
I think I can get you 4.
Okay, or time
okay.
for or
21 past the hour. 39 till the top. Jeez.